Notice I'm using that's the old chip I was using. It's ESP32. I had issues with it. I had it from another project. I think some of the pins may have burned out, so I gave up using that, and I switched over to a chip that's called the ESP8266, and this is actually the board itself is called the D1 Mini. It doesn't have as many pins, and it's a slightly older technology, but it still works. So right now I have my potentiometer hooked up and the LCD screen. So what the LCD screen is showing is the actual decimal number that's being sent as to represent the square wave. So as I turn the potentiometer up, that number goes up. And if we look over here at my oscilloscope, that's the square wave that goes to the motor. So the smaller the squares, the smaller the signal. Oops. I have a slight issue with the potentiometer, and I'll explain that in a second. It'll come back up. I have to reset the board. There we go. I also have my jumpers going. There we go. So, can't move the things close together because got flaky connections at the moment, which I have to fix. The higher I turn the potentiometer up, move that closer. The closer they get together and the faster the motor goes. So, I'll turn it down to about 300 is about as low as I can go until the board resets. What's happening is the potentiometer resistance is too low and it's actually shorting out the ground, which of course shorts out my board. So at the lowest I can turn it is 300, and I believe I can fix that by throwing a resistor on it somewhere and just post it up. And that'll fix the problem. Reset the board. Alright, come on. Alright, reset. So something just sort of hook isn't right. I'm no longer getting a good square wave. So I probably have something not touching correctly, or alright. So these are issues that you run into when you're working on stuff. You just have to work them through. So let me disconnect and make sure it's not my alligator clips that are shorting something out. I'll reset the board again. Pull the power on it. I'm actually using a 5-volt power line to power it, and then I have my laptop hooked up to it, my tablet to yeah, no display. Alright. So I'll pull my clips off here, and I do have power off. So I put a light switch on my power line coming in so I can turn it off so I don't have to keep unplugging it, but I just have to remember there's live wires on the other side of that switch. There we go. I reset the board. Now we're back up. So let me turn it down to 400. And what's happening is there's a power regulator on the underside of the board. So when you short it out, it starts to overheat that power regulator, and if it overheats too much, guess what? It gets fried. Now, good news is, I bought 4 of those chips for $10, so it's not like they're real expensive. Let me hook the alligator chip clip back up to my, so that's the power supply board. That's the pulse, the PMW signal that goes through the black clip. This is a ground wire. Always have to have a ground wire hooked up to stuff like this for it to work right. We got a nice oscillation there. I'll turn power on, and then so it shows a PMW signal on. I'll use a pencil so I don't get zapped. On that LED, that's a power 9-volt DC power. So what I don't see is the SCR trigger. That is work call. So let me turn this up again, and you'll see the motor start to run. So you should see that SCR trigger light come on. Actually, it should have come on already, so I'm wondering if I don't have my clips on right. So that means I'm not getting signal to my board, so I'll turn it off again. To make sure that these are connected correctly. That needs to be connected to that one and that one only. And this one is actually touching the pin next to it, which is why it wasn't working. There we go. So now, hopefully, and I don't have a square wave again. Let me turn this off. Now, part of the problem that I'm having as well is when I have this turned off, or this turned on, and the power off to the treadmill controller. This wants to try to feed that, which is also going to overheat everything because it's drawing too much power. There we go. Nice good square wave. Turn this on. And hopefully I'm not getting anything, so that probably means, whoop, there we go. I've seen that happen. For some reason it doesn't always want to start right up. I've turned it up and then back down, but I might just have to live with that. I think that's a limitation of the chip. The other thing I could try is putting a logic level converter in, which would be this chip. So my pulse signal coming out of this chip is 3.3 volts. The power supply board might need something higher than that, so I might throw that chip on there just to get see if that helps. So we'll see if that works. I'll throw that on and we'll try this again. Power supply's done. It's sitting down in there, a box. It's plugged in, and I have my control box right here. I have to find a place for it, find a way to stick it to something, but power on. Have to adjust the display some, and I have a little tweaking to the software to do. And I do not have the turn it off and reset it. Don't have the tachometer on it yet. I must have a loose wire. Hang on. Oops. Alright, so it's working on the bench. Hang on a second, let me pause this. Works now. Oh. Crap. Alright. Well, that's bizarre. Alright, so in this mess of wires, those two. No, it is. I don't remember. After. I'll turn it on. I have to open that up and adjust the contrast. And it's still not working. Alright. Oh, jeez. Alright, here's the completed power supply. Closes up nicely. It just sits on the floor. The blue cable goes up to the control box. This cable goes to the motor. And I'll show you the control box. So, power it on. Processor's in there as well to adjust the display, contrast, and show the motor on there as well. And still nothing. Oh, duh. Because engage the relays for direction. And I do have to adjust this off for a little bit. It wants to start up on its own. And I'll show you the software in the next video. Nice and smooth. And we're not getting any interference on the display. So, I have to add the tachometer, and I do want to add some kind of braking system on it. That's it. For now, at least. I have some other projects that are working on.